Don't you know that the sheep are on the right side and the goats are on the left? You guys are all goats today. Huh?
No, there's a sheep.
There's a couple sheep. He looks like a sheep, doesn't he? Yeah, you look like a sheep. Yeah, you're a small fuzzy animal.
I'm not sheep. I'm not sheep.
Yeah, sheep are very quiet and passive. No, you're not a sheep. Name of the Father, don't touch that. Hey, does it still work okay? Yep. Don't touch it. Ezra, come over here with the sheep right here. Even though you're not a sheep, come right over there. Name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. We're going to talk about the gospel today. Who remembers what the gospel was about? We just read it. Yes, sir. Yes, they were in a big boat, and they were in a small boat, and they were a big storm, and Jesus told the storm to stop. That is basically it. Now, there's cases where the apostles were on a boat and Jesus walked to them on the water. That's not this one. This one, he's sleeping in the boat. Do you remember anybody else who was sleeping in a boat when there was a big storm?
Jonah.
Jonah was sleeping in the boat. And what was Jonah doing when he was sleeping? He was going away from Nineveh, but I'm just thinking about him when he was sleeping, what was happening. He was snoring, wasn't he? That's what it said. He was deeply asleep, and the boat was in danger of capsizing. In fact, if he had not gone and jumped overboard, they all would have died. So Jesus is sleeping on a boat, and there's a big storm. You think you could sleep through a big storm?
Yes.
I don't think so. Not if you're on a boat. Not if you're on a boat. I think your mommy and daddy know what happens when there's a great big storm. You come running to their bed. When there's thunder, oh, you don't? Okay, you're big. The young kids do. Oh, you're not a young kid. I see. Okay, the little kids do. Okay? I have very sweet memories of that. Being running to my mommy and daddy's bed when I was scared. When there's thunder? Yeah. So let's go through the story and see some, Gregory did, what baby? Lightning and thunder. So Gregory did summarize it well, but there's a lot of things in it besides the summary. So on the same day when even was come, he said to them, let's pass by over to the other side. So they get in a boat. He puts away the multitude, and then they went to ship. So they went out on the boat, on the Sea of Galilee. And the Sea of Galilee was notorious for storms. There could be huge storms on the Sea of Galilee with huge waves that would swamp a small boat. Now, I was on a small boat, probably a little bit bigger than theirs, but probably not much, to go across Lake Victoria. Now, they had motorboats. It was an outboard motor. And half the time it would conk out, and then they'd have to restart it in the middle of Lake Victoria. And there was one point where their waves were so high that they had to continually go straight into the wave. You have to make sure that you're not sideways. If you're sideways, it'll knock you over. We'd be in the middle of Lake Victoria and we'd be swamped. And that would have been very, very bad. So I know what it's like to be in a little boat. It wasn't a storm, but the waves were very, very high. And I guess I wasn't scared. I thought it was a great adventure myself. But if it had been thundering and lightning, I think I would have been scared. So they were frightened. They were terrified that they were going to die. Should they have been afraid that they were going to die? Why not? Because Jesus was there. Would Jesus let them die? No. They had some idea of what his mission was. They knew that it wasn't to die in a boat in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, right? So they shouldn't have been scared, but they were. So there's this great storm of wind, and the waves are so high that they actually pass over the top of the ship, and the ship is starting to fill with water. What would happen if a ship filled completely full of water? I think so. Probably it would sink. And it says he was in the back part of the ship, and he was asleep on a pillow. Now, it doesn't say he was snoring, but I like to think that he was snoring, like Jonah. and they come to him and say, Master, don't you care that we perish? Is that a very nice thing to say? What do you think? What should they have said? What do you think? What should they have said? They could have said something to Jesus about the storm. What could they have said? Don't you guys get practice saying something the nice way, like, give me a cookie, or I want a cookie? And they say, do you know how to ask for a cookie? How do you get that from your mom and dad or from your papa? Every single one of you, right? You have to learn how to ask for things the right way. Well, we certainly should ask God for things the right way. So what's wrong with it? Master, don't you care about us that we're dying? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? Come on. Quiet man. Carries big stick. Come on. What do you think? What's wrong with it? Well, how do you think your mom would react to you if it was, let's say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, she's making lunch, or she's making dinner, and you go to your mom and said, Mom, don't you care that I'm starving to death? I need something right now. How do you think she would react to that? She's here, ask her.
Don't you give disrespect for your mom?
There you go. Exactly. That's not nice. I mean, your mother is not trying to starve you to death.
My mom.
No, your mom's not either. Your mom's not either. Your mom's not either. Yeah, my mom. Your mom's not trying to starve you to death either. Not your papa. And by the way, whenever I don't give them something, it's also my mom would let me. You are the most permissive person in the universe.
When I'm not there.
Yeah, the only person actually your husband is more permissive. He's usually the one that's cited. So what could they have done? They're afraid. There's all kinds of waves. They're afraid of the storm, and Jesus is sleeping. What could they have done?
Gently woke him up and asked him.
And asked him what?
To save him.
To save them? I don't think that would have been the right thing to do. You think they were going to die with Jesus in the boat? We already said no. So what would be the right thing to do?
Believe.
Believe, yes. But even when you believe, you could be scared of something. Okay? I mean, that's a human emotion. And Jesus cares about your being scared of things too. Come on, you guys, this is not that hard. Trying to get you to think. Well, how could they have asked him in a nice way? How about this? Jesus, while you're sleeping, we're going to die. Would that be a good way? How about this? Jesus, we're scared. Would you help us? How about that? What do you think? Yeah, just something simple. It's okay to tell God you're scared about something, but not that you're going to die. They weren't going to die on the ship, right? So that's what they should have done. But Jesus didn't rebuke them for that. He got up, but he did tell them, why are you so fearful? Why are they fearful? He got a boo-boo? Who's got a boo-boo?
He does.
He does?
Jesus on the cross.
Oh, Jesus has a boo-boo on the cross. You're right. You're right. So he says, why are you so fearful, and how is it that you have no faith? Now, you guys might not always hear my sermons or listen to them, because, kids often don't listen to sermons. But I say something all the time about things like this, about questions like this. What are you supposed to do with questions like this? Answer them. Answer them. So he says to them, why are you so fearful, and how is it that you have no faith? So let's try to answer the question, not for them, but for ourselves. Why is it that we're afraid sometimes? I'm not talking about if you're afraid because, you see a snake or something. I don't mean that kind of fear. But I mean, because we're not perfect. Okay. I think it's because our faith is weak, isn't it? Why is our faith weak? Why? Right now you're kids and, you pray when your parents pray with you for the most part, and you read the Bible when they read it to you and stuff, or read it with you. But eventually you're going to have to grow up and be adults, You're going to have to pray and read on your own, and you're going to have an intense life, a busy life, hard life. And if you don't do that, then you have weak faith. And if you have weak faith, well, that's what makes you scared of things. So we have weak faith when we're not struggling to live as Christians. That's how you have weak faith. Now you guys can learn right now to have strong faith by loving your brother and sister, even when you're mad at them, and obeying your parents, saying your prayers. And as you get older, certainly like at least at Nina's age, and I think at Alexander's age and Alex's age, you guys should be praying on your own as well. You should be saying prayers on your own as well, not just with your family. Then you have strong faith. So then he gets up and he says, basically, he doesn't say what he says, but he just rebuked it. Well, yes, it does say. It says, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased and there was great calm. And that's when he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? Why do you have no faith?" And they were afraid. They were afraid exceedingly. Now, what kind of fear was that? That's a good kind of fear. What kind of fear was that? Afraid of him, but the fear of God. And not that they were afraid he was going to hurt them, but when they're around something that's really amazing, we feel this awe about God. That's called the fear of God. So they were afraid. And then they said, "What kind of man is this that even the wind and the seas obey him?" What kind of man is it? God. Just God? God came down from heaven? God and man, right? Jesus Christ, God and man. So they were slow. This is part of their education for them to learn that no matter what they were involved in, Jesus was always going to be with them and was always going to protect them. And they need not be afraid. And this was part of their education. I'm not sure when this happened in the ministry, probably relatively early. All right, God bless you.